Hey, all you internet divers. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm happy to be back. I'm your host, Joe Bosques, and welcome to another episode of Divesoft TV's Dive Talks Live. So today we have an awesome episode ready for you guys. And also, I wanted to thank everyone for the well wishes while I was away, the little break. But glad to be back. And so today today my guest is the wonderful Melodie Trevino. Melodie is very well-rounded in her modeling to her technical cave diving and being a Divesoft Liberty diver, and to her savvy business ventures and partnership with the Shalom Group in the Yucatan in Mexico, and part of the XTC Diving Resort in Mexican Paradise. So we're so excited to have her join us today. And so let's see if Matt can pipe her in. Hey, Mel.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
Joe. Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I'm glad you feel better now.
Exactly. No, it's, we had to postpone. I was a little under the weather, but I'm glad we were able to reschedule and get you back in, pretty quickly. So we're happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. And we were sad that we have to postpone the other talk. But anyway, now we're here.
Yeah, nobody would have wanted to have my mug on camera at that time. So it was good that it took a little break.
Yeah, I'm glad you feel better.
So where are you currently at right now?
I'm currently in Playa del Carmen. Honestly, I was trained to do this live by the beach in Xcalac, but the connection there is so limited because it's a very remote area. So I had to move to the city, which is not a huge city, Playa del Carmen, but now I'm here and hopefully the internet is not going to fail. So
right, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, no, it's I was thinking if you should film it in Ecstasy in Xcalac, but like you said, it's so remote. You're on like a little island jungle paradise. So it's a beautiful place to visit, an incredible place to go diving, but maybe kind of tough on the internet, especially for live streams.
Exactly. So now I'm here in Playa and ready to do this live with you guys and maybe answer some questions and whatever is meant for. I can maybe intro myself to those that doesn't know me, and
no, definitely, we'll kind of dive in here, and so so go ahead, take us back to the beginning and what got you started on your path in diving and whatnot.
Yeah, so. I'm Mexican. I was born in the north of Mexico, and then a couple of years ago, like around 5, 6, I moved to the Riviera Maya to pursue a career in the ecotourism industry, but also especially in the scuba diving industry, let's say.
Right.
So, like Joe said, I partnered with some business here in the Yucatan Peninsula. One that is in the southernmost part of Mexico. It's called XTC Dive Center. And there we do a lot of diving from level discovery scuba till rebreathers, deep trimix diving, and all sorts of classes and teaching you may think about. So the conditions there are perfect, and we love to be there. There's it's a dive resort, in fact. So it's kind of remote, but it's really, really, really nice to spend like a couple of days there because you don't have a connection, like a phone connection.
Right, so now, right. You can really take a mental break from social media and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate luxury, to be able to disconnect and reconnect with nature. So it's really, really cool to be there. It's one of my favorite places in the world, I guess. So I guess I took the right decision to move here and then pursue that career into being close to the ocean and being able to dive almost every day.
So did your family scuba dive, or did you ever do any kind of get introduced into scuba diving maybe when you were younger, or is it kind of something you just picked up a little bit later in life?
Yeah, well, I the first time I scuba dive, I was like young, like a teenager, and
Hmm.
then I went into a family vacation, and the first time I had a regulator in my mouth, and then I was underwater, and then the feeling of being able to breathe underwater, I was like, just wow. It was
Right.
just like an incredible feeling because I used to spend a lot of time in the water. I was part of the Mexican national team for diving the
Wow.
one
Yeah.
jump from platforms and to a pool and do like a lot of tricks in
You,
the air.
you didn't do anything in Acapulco, right, with the cliff divers?
Yeah, exactly. So I was always like in the water. I always wanted to since I was little, I did all sorts of things regarding water, especially this high let's say as a athlete like a high intense training
Right.
for the Mexican national team. So the first time I grabbed a regulator in my mouth, I was like, wow, I can spend more time in the water than just like my breath hold. That was
Right.
amazing. It was just spectacular. And then later in the years, like in my 20s, I started like diving a little bit more, just like
Hmm.
recreational. And then it was since a couple of years ago that I jumped into the professional level and more like technical diving, cave diving, and last year with Divesoft Liberty, the
Right. Right.
Rebreather diving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said a couple times before. It's such a common theme is that people are just attracted to the water and the ocean, and people just a lot of us kind of discover diving, and kind of how you're saying is that you kind of when you do things you're not very casual about it. You're going to do it the best way, right? And so
Yeah.
you really just dove into it, and so it really
Yeah.
it's almost like an addiction when people get into diving. It's just they get a little bit of
Yeah.
it
It's
and
like
they
it's a whole new world and you can't stop, and the only way to do it is like continue learning, and I think that's the best way. And honestly, I think I'm kind of the rebel of my family because none of them dive. I mean, they now do because I do and I teach them
yeah.
or whatever, but they used to like not being part of their hobby or the main hobby at least. So it's kind of interesting that now they are just diving with me sometimes when they visit, so
Hmm.
it's fun.
Well, yeah, it's not very traditional to be like, you know what, I'm going to make the ocean my life. I'm going to, work I want to be a diving professional. It's definitely not a very casual thing. I know when I told my parents when I was young, I was like, oh, I want to do marine biology and I want to diving. And they're like, well, it's a great hobby, but
But you need
so
to work like it's
right, you need to
something.
go to
Yeah.
work. And so in order to make it kind of your profession, it really does take a lot of passion and a lot of drive for it. So that's the hard part, that people just have to break through that barrier and then they can make it work.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree. It's quite challenging to, I don't know, especially, I guess, especially now with the pandemic or after pandemic or etc. It's
Oh
quite
yeah.
challenging to be in this type of industry
And
and in
tourism
general,
and
like in
whatnot and
the
travel.
tourism industry, dive and travel and all that. But I guess with the right mindset, let's not say
Exactly.
strategy, because sometimes it's not about business, it's about having the right mindset as an entrepreneur. We were able to overcome a lot of situations that came because of the pandemic, and now we'll still here
Right.
and hoping to make it big.
Exactly. We're all adapting on it, but I definitely am curious about some of the other things, but we'll get into that in a little while. But so you studied business in school, and tell me a little bit about sustainable development, because I know in my own grad school I focused on kind of marine resources and sustainability, but it sounds like you looked more into it in the business side of making a sustainable tourism, sustainable businesses. So it's kind of I feel like it's kind of a hot button in the industry now, is sustainability, and
Yeah.
making not eating up all of the resources at once. Making things renewable and lasting longer. So tell me a little bit about the sustainable business.
Yeah. So when I was an athlete, I remember like seeing my older peers having like a short career as an athlete, like for long term, because you have a limited
they're
age
intense.
gap to perform that, right?
Right.
So in Mexico, that type of career is like not as good as in other countries. I mean, the support the government and institutions give to the athletes. So I remember that I was like, okay, I really like this, but I guess I need to make my mind into the future. And then that's when I enrolled into university and did a bachelor in international business. Because I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to create something and to join the entrepreneur life at some point in life, no? So after being there, I realized how important was sustainability in general in whatever you pursue, and especially when you make business or when you try to set up like a new business or whatever. So then I decided to pursue an MBA, a Master in Business Administration. With first I did it with a finance specialty, and then I refocused on sustainability. And then I did part of this in the United States, and part in Holland, and part in Spain. And then I grabbed a little bit of everything, and I kind of make my MBA as bold as possible in order to learn more and to be, I guess, ready or prepared to go into the entrepreneurship life. And it was like really eye-opening, because now that I'm in the ecotourism industry, or that I decided to move into this type of industry, it's like just like the perfect mix of what I learned at school and what I wanted to pursue like in real life, like generally in the future. So now it's really, really interesting, because we, as a company, we try to pursue all levels of integration in the sustainability chain for the ecotourism industry, by employing, of course, B2B partners that are locally based, and then good practices are also, let's say, I don't want to sound redundant, but let's say sustainable too.
Different backgrounds, kind of all, because you're looking at the whole entire system, right? It's not just one piece of the pie. You look at the whole. It's almost like in diving, it's not like, okay, I'm going to teach you an advanced scuba class and that's it. No, we're going to take you all the way where you make a good, well-rounded diver in the terms of like a well-rounded industry of tourism, and bringing people to the area and showing them the natural resources, right? And so if you don't have the resources, there's nothing to see. The people don't come and whatnot. And so everything's connected.
Everything's connected, exactly. And also, as a business owner, to be responsible of the decisions we made, that they are going to impact the future, not only for us, but the environment we are in, especially in the tourism industry, and for the people that comes. So I think the whole idea is to see the big picture, not only for today, but for tomorrow and the coming years, like to elaborate a plan that is going to be there, that is going to work, and that it's going to be sustainable long term, and in all of their branches, of course.
Right. Yeah, very well put. It's and I just think that it's so interesting. It took a long time for, I think, the market to kind of get to this point, but it's really things are becoming markets are really encouraging businesses that are very aware of the big picture and whatnot, and to make something that's not going to disappear in 20 years, that's going to make something that's going to last and very high quality, especially like with experiences all the way from like where you're staying and whatnot, especially in, tourism. It's a tough industry. It's very volatile. And so, and
I guess with a lot of respect of the ecosystems and the environment you are in, like especially that.
Right. And so, we kind of, you briefly talked about the Shalom group and ecstasy, and I really would like to mention about it, because you invited me down there last year, and we were training on the Liberty Rebreather, and I really got to see, you guys had a location next to the Cenote Maya Blue, and then all the way down to your resort in Ecstasy or in Xcalac. And I've been diving in the Yucatan since I was a kid. and I was like, man, this reef diving is incredible, on top of, and it's fully supported. You even have a library down there. And so it's a fantastic resources, but like you said, it's very diversified. You even have interns that are down there that can go through the program where they can kind of learn how everything works. And they're in such a beautiful site, the reef diving, the manatees that were there, the tarpon that would kind of follow us on some dives and whatnot. It's, the diversity is so important. And then we could go dive cenotes too, so.
Yeah. I lost you a little bit because I guess the connection, but so to round up a little bit, that is the Chilam Group is like the holding company of different type of businesses.
Yeah, I lost my beard. It fell out.
Yeah, I saw that comment. So the Chilam Group is a holding company that owns a different type of business, but all of them related to scuba diving. Mm-hmm. So one is the one you mentioned, the XTC Dive Center Resort, which we are like in the beach. 5 minutes from our pier, we have many dive spots that are suitable either for recreational diving, ceramic diving. Right. So it's really interesting, and it's really convenient, and the marine ecosystems and fauna we can find there is really cool. For example, that photo of the tarpons, you can have that just 7 minutes from our pier in a boat ride. So it's really cool. Also, you can find manatees, which is really spectacular, because finding a manatee over a pristine reef is just quite unique. It's a really nice experience. And I think you can do that in Florida, but you cannot do it with a scuba tank because it's very protected. But here, the manatees in the spring, here the manatees come out from the lagoon, and then they jump into the ocean, and then they mingle with you there. It's quite amazing. And also, you can find a little bit of our reef sharks, a lot of little things like nudie branches and stuff like that I really like too. But definitely the conditions are so perfect to learn like different levels of scuba diving there. So it's quite unique. And then on the other hand, we have Maya Blue Dive Center and Dark Sun Diving that it focused on cenote diving.
Right.
And then there we basically do a lot of cave diving and cavern diving with open circuit, closed circuit, and etc. We also have a retail shop there, which is really cool. That's a nice thing.
Right. We can talk so much about
my friend. Thank you for
these things. The access that you guys have in Maya Blue and the cenotes there. It's there's so many different sites just so close, just right off the road, close to Akumal. And your kind of background in diving, or in the cave diving that you did, you worked with Javier Salas and Steve Bogarts, who we've also had on these dive talks before. And so it's very much it's a very good training in diving with some very notable people from the community. And so it's not anything to snuff at. It's very it's been very good diving, especially you guys are diving kind of like the what I called it the Bogarthian system, like the razor philosophy of diving, and very minimalistic, and it's very a well-rounded group, and it's a lot of really great things you guys can do there. So it's really unique. I was very impressed with it.
I think I'm losing you a little bit.
You're losing any internet connection? Can you hear me all right? All right. Looks like we got you back. So you kind of briefly talked a little bit about the kind of the pandemic and whatnot. And so you guys do host a lot of people, everything from interns to people that are training and people and other clients that just want to go diving. They how was that during, the last year and a half when we've had these kind of unprecedented times?
Yeah. Just to wrap around about the Chilam Group, because
looks like we might be having some internet connections. All right. So, but I could talk quite a bit about the diving there over in the Yucatan Peninsula. Oh, looks like we may have lost her. So, but briefly, kind of what I was saying was, at this site we had this access to different cenotes from all over the area, and it's fantastic caves and cave diving because it's quite different than the kind of caves that we have here in Florida. You have a lot of formations and whatnot, and they're all so unique and extremely decorated. It's very similar to kind of what you'll find in the Bahamas with the types of caves that they have there. And they're either you have very shallow caves, and then you have very, very deep kind of pit-like caves. So, but historically, it's sorry, I kind of like thinking on the fly with this, but the cenotes are very, very decorated, very really neat. But they all, like I said earlier, sometimes they're shallow, or sometimes they're either like a pit. So what's really cool about the shallow caves is that they'll be under 20 feet, and so with two aluminum 80s, you can go for some really long dives and still be within your thirds. And so it provides a very unique opportunity to be doing these long dives in these very, very decorated caves, but they're also very, very fragile. So, your trim is so important, rather than like the caves we have here in Florida, where your buoyancy and your trim is still very important, but you have these high flow caves. They're very they're very dark dolomite caves. It's not like some caves we have here are nice and white and pretty, but a lot of the caves in Mexico, they're very, very light limestone, so very pretty. Also, on top of some of the other things, besides the caves and the reefs, there was a brief picture of the crocodiles that they have there. And so the crocodiles, it's another really unique thing that I've never seen before, is that what Melodie and her group, what they offer is some trips out to see these alligators, and they take such incredible pictures with them. So it's really cool to be able to see these animals in the environment where it's nice and clear water. So hopefully, so these are some really interesting pictures that Mathieu is piping in, is that this cave was actually shot from a cell phone, which I think is pretty cool. And this was in a cenote called Angelita. We were actually in the middle of a photo shoot. You can see kind of that yellow light. That's Alex Dawson, who we'll be having on next week. And he was there taking pictures of Melodie. She had just completed her Liberty training, so we were getting some cool shots. And then we had the other diver on top, just kind of providing awesome lighting. And so we made some pretty cool videos. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. All right, I think we're back. I don't know. Just jump down below and comment and let us know that we're back on. Otherwise, we're just going to start talking about diving like we normally do. So,
yeah.
But all right, so we're gonna. This will be part 2 of Mel Trevino's Dive Talk Lives. So, we left off was we were talking about the crocodiles. The American crocodiles that you guys go see. So you guys can go scuba dive under the crocodiles? No, right?
No, not scuba diving. Is like a free diving experience or kind of like that. Because we do this in Banco Chinchorro, which is a biosphere reserve. It's just around 2 to 3 hours offshore, and we go out from Xcalac, the southernmost part of Mexico. So
everyone needs to be looking this on a map, by the way.
Yeah, so Cancun, Tulum, and then Xcalac just in the border with Belize. It's quite unique. So we do in the summer, we do expeditions to go and swim and photograph the crocodiles. They are American crocodiles, not alligators, which is different. And then, we do there, and it's so amazing to photograph. It's just like a perfect, and I think it's one of the closest prehistoric adventures you may have to be
Right.
able to be in the water with these huge, humongous crocodiles. Some of them can be small,
Look at
but they
them
can reach
monsters. Those are
lengths of
dinosaurs. So,
four 4 to 5 meters. They can be. Yeah, it's quite unique. That's a nice photo. I really like that photo that my friend Ken Kiefer took of me modeling alongside the American crocodile. It was so amazing. And as you can see, the conditions there are really, really cool. It's salt water, although they are not salty. They are American crocodiles, and it's it's really, really, really unique to be there with the crocodiles. So we do this in the summer from June to around September, and we do these expeditions with the XTC Dive Center team, and looking forward to have you guys there at some
yeah.
point. And
Maybe I should go down there for my birthday and run down and go see some of the crocodiles. So it's very, very cool. And yeah, those guys are dinosaurs. I mean, I don't think, I mean, how many people are, oh yeah, I'm just going to take a little selfie with these dinosaurs underwater, no big deal.
No big deal. Just easy. Especially, you know what? When I got invited by some underwater photographers to model with the crocodiles, or to have some sort of human interaction with the crocodile. Although we don't interact
Without feeding them.
Without, just with respect, But at the end of the time, it's like to be there and to be able to have them in front of you in the salt water without a mask it can be quite intimidating, but at the same time,
I didn't even think about that. You're not wearing a mask. You can't really see how close they are.
Exactly. Of course, there's like a huge team. There's a huge safety team that we operate at XTC Dive Center. But anyway, at the same point, it's just amazing to be able to experience that type of interaction underwater, because they are basically dinosaurs. So
yeah. I mean, we keep going back
Hi,
to
Michael, Bob.
Yeah. I didn't even think about it. You can't really see. It's kind of blurry, and never mind if you wear contacts or anything. So it's like, wow, really cool. And yeah, I recommend everyone check out on your profile page. You have some more of these pictures. So if all these viewers want to go and take a look, jump over there and take it.
I'm in Facebook as Melodie Trevino. I have a page there, and then my Instagram is Water Melodie. So please feel free to go take a look, and if you have any questions, etc., I'm happy to answer.
Right. And but so this is all just kind of one part of the things that you do, are kind of these excursions, as well as the training and the diving in the caves. You have a whole facility where people can have their equipment, like a little dive locker for them. You have the classrooms there at Maya Blue. So
we have a really nice blending station also in XTC, where we do all our gas mixes and etc. for technical diving.
Mix you want and whatnot. And I even did a talk on the analyzers there last time with the interns.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, but what I'm interested in, what I'm curious about is, so you have a lot of traveling that goes on, let alone your own traveling, but the traveling of interns, different groups, guests, people that are they're just staying at the resort and diving, and even taking training, or they're working there, during the, how has the last year and a half been in terms of all the travel operations? And how have you guys adapted?
Yeah, so, well, we were closed as everyone for a couple of months. And of course, that was kind of painful as a dive shop owner and for everyone that is involved in this type of operation. So it was kind of sad. But at the end of the day, last summer, Mexico started kind of reactivating a little bit, and then it was like gone off and on about travel restrictions, or either we could open or we don't. So we had to adapt to whatever they say, no? And we took alongside the government, we took like this how to manage social responsible the pandemic when in the tourism industry. So we went to this training in order to get certified about the best practices we can do
Oh,
in
interesting.
tourism. Yeah, I think that was really, really nice from the government to push us, everyone in the
Right.
tourism industry, to take this type of training and to be able to provide whatever is safer for the consumers and
Right.
clients or etc. So at the end of the day, there was anyway a lot of travel restrictions, and we were operating like very, very little.
Mm-hmm.
Just those adventurous person that still wanted to scuba dive or take training, or that they were able to travel from somewhere in the world. As
Right.
you,
Right.
that we
Right.
host you in November, you
Yeah.
were brave enough. No, I'm just kidding. But as you saw when you were here, like we take very serious all the best practices regarding COVID,
Right.
and we follow the rules about what the government says. So
Right.
there's no
Right.
other way to do it but to do it like good.
Right. You know, there's no other option. You got to do it the right way. And so, yeah. And when I got there, I mean,
Yeah.
you still had people coming and visiting and going diving. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't the numbers that you guys are used to, but, you know, it was still
Yeah.
trucking along. And you guys had clients that were training. You had clients that would just go fun diving. And you had, you know, not the same numbers of people that were training and
Yeah.
diving there, but it was a full staff and whatnot. And so it's really awesome to see that you guys were able to adapt. And I don't think it was, you guys were able to adapt and get through it and still getting through
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah. And you know what? I honestly was a little bit surprised that a lot of the clientele that we still received after the pandemic, or kind of during, after, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where we are
Last
right now,
year.
but
Yeah.
anyway.
It's like still not
Yeah.
over, but yeah.
This is like still, yeah. But anyway, we got a lot of technical divers and a lot of Rebreather divers, like compared to the actual normal population of people that we get. Some of them are recreational, some of them are technical divers, Rebreather divers. But this time, like, they were the adventurous one that wanted to go and take a class because the conditions were perfect, that you can work from your computer because you're
Right.
not able to go to the office, and then manage and work out to take, like, I don't know, half day technical diving lessons and then half day working. And it was just perfect. So, I mean, for them, I guess. And then it kind of worked for a lot of people because, you know, there's like a boom of digital nomads where,
Yeah.
since after the pandemic or etc., where you can just work whenever you are in the world, just with your computer, and then continue doing or following your passion on the side, which is really interesting. And I don't know what to expect for the rest of the 2021, but hopefully something really, really cool for everyone.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully something else. You know, I like the term
Yeah.
digital nomads. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, like you said, a lot of people adapted, and then some folks took this opportunity. I know I had some friends that they were able to go. They went and stayed in cave country for a month while they were doing this. So
Yeah.
here, this picture before it runs away. This was after just a shallow dive, right?
Yeah, really, really shallow.
No. So
I
this
think,
is kind of the diving you guys did in Ecstasy. That was after what, 400 foot?
yeah, I think it was like a 430 feet dive. It was really, really interesting to be there with the guidance of Javier Salas, that he's watching also the live. He's
My favorite, Javier.
my deep sea trimix instructor for open circuit. And yeah, honestly, we take really, really serious the technical diving there. And what we do is kind of, we take the seasons, because I'm also an instructor, not for those types of technical levels, but we kind of do the technical month, where we as dive shop owners and instructors and etc. take the time to go actually and dive
Right.
as much as we can, as much as we can. So for us, for example, October, November, it's kind of slow in the amount of travelers we get. So it's perfect to do like the trimix month where we dive, and then we set up like a plan from where and to what we want to perform. So, for example, Javier last year in let's say November, around that, he did also like the technical month, and I don't know, dives around 500 feet. 500 plus feet. So it's really, really cool. And the conditions there in Xcalac are perfect for deep sea trimix diving. Because you have like these deep walls, which are perfect for technical diving, but also for your deco, you can start your deco alongside the reef. So it's not so boring to be like 2 hours of deco in the pitch blue, counting your fingers. It's like you can also do your deco and while looking at the reef, and I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So it's really cool. I think that's a really nice setup for technical diving. So yeah, that photo was taken after this 430, 50 or 30 something, 400 something feet to dive. So it was cool.
Really like
cool.
I said, not a very casual dive. So I mean, it's great that you guys, the instructional staff at Ecstasy and with the Shalom group, you guys take the time. Okay, we're going to do some dives where we're working hard, we're pushing, so you guys don't get burned out on teaching kind of basic open water diving, and you also work on your own skills and work on yourselves. It's really good. And hey, we'll say hi to Javier. You were saying hello earlier, so.
Yeah, he's there.
But it's great. Those type of diving, it's fantastic. And like you said, you can decompress on the reef, and so very nice.
It's really, really nice. I can wait to take my Liberty to those depths in the future. Not yet though, but in the future. So
tell me a little.
I did those. Mm-hmm. I did those dives in open circuit, just to mention, because,
yeah, not yet, soon, but not yet.
Not yet.
So last year we were training on the Liberty Rebreather. We were doing a lot of side mount diving off the boats, which it's a little complicated, but it was so nice there. It's like a giant pool, really. And so, yeah, tell me a little bit about your experience with the Liberty Rebreather.
Yeah. So, well, that's me. I think maybe you took that photo.
I know. I was like, I took that picture.
Yay! So, well, it's been an amazing journey since I first unpacked my my Liberty in Florida that I went pick it up, and then the training that you gave me in Xcalac, it was quite amazing, and honestly, it's such a powerful tool. I was so surprised about how the lack of I don't know how to put it in the right words in English, but like the lack of limits you may have while diving a rebreather is just such a powerful tool. It's amazing.
Game changer. Like, yeah, we talked a lot
about
that.
It's a game changer.
You're just like, oh, let's go do. We're going to go dive 2.5 hours. Oh, how much gas did you use? 500 psi. Whatever. And so it's just like
barely nothing.
The capabilities are quite different than open circuit. So I mean, Javier also dives on a Liberty side mount.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely, it's such a powerful tool. I'm so in love with my side mount Liberty. It's amazing, and all my technical experience in my dive career, it's been in side mount. So for me, the side mount Liberty is just so comfortable and so perfect because it's just replaced like one of my tanks, and it gives me basically no limits to go and spend many hours underwater. So it's just amazing.
Right. And we talked about in the future how the rebreathers are for cave diving is just like, you're just like, oh yeah, you have a range. It completely changes the way that you cave dive. And so I know you dive a lot in the cenotes, and so hopefully soon you'll be able to cross over and start taking the Liberty into the caves, and you can experience that and then you have no bubbles, and so you'll see some of those air pockets, and it's just those beautiful mirrors that don't move, and so It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's like to go there and notice. So it's so perfect. And can wait, like you mentioned, to do my crossover and to start diving the Rebreather also in the caves. Because I've been taking it to caverns, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's like the amount of hours you can get in the Rebreather inside a cave is just amazing. And here in Mexico, it's just the many dive spots you may have is just unique, and caves, of course.
Now, so because you had kind of been around the Rebreathers before, but this time you were focusing on it in your own class and kind of learning the system. And I remember you were telling me that like, oh, it's the joke with the Rebreathers, it's a mysterious black box. And I was like, well, here, this does this and this. So what did you think about kind of like the interface on it?
I think
was it more complicated than you thought, or?
No. No. Like it's super. Like the interface is super friendly, and it was. I mean, you are a really good teacher. And I'm saying this because we are live, but I really enjoyed the training, and I think the unit is quite friendly. And of course, you have to have a lot of experience as a diver before jumping into the Rebreathers, because you need to be able to know, to know what to do in case of any situation, and to know physics and blah, 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 all that. So definitely, I think the side mount Liberty is a really, regarding the interface, is a really friendly setup.
Right. Yeah. I'm real happy to hear that. It's do you have any kind of like little advice that you would give to anyone that's starting a Rebreather class?
I guess you better choose a good instructor, first of all. I think it's all about the instructor. And also to take it slow, because once you have the Rebreather, it's so easy to push to the limits a little bit. But there's training, and there's training because of a reason. So it's very important to follow the rules and to not go fast just because it's easy, but because you can do it, of course. But at the end of the day, the hours you gain underwater, it doesn't compare to the amount of training you may have, because you have to train yourself after you train, with an instructor. That sounds redundant, but I guess you get the point. So
yeah, I mean, you need to practice what you learned. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's my main two recommendations: to get a nice instructor.
And that's really, that's something I wanted to really harp on, because we talked a lot about that. A lot of people, once they get the Rebreather, they're going to go do the same diving that they were doing on open circuit. And in reality, that's not the case. It's a completely new system. You need to take your time, and you really need to learn this new way of diving. You can't take it to where you had it, where you were diving on open circuit. You need to build up to that, because it's different solutions, it's different problems, it's different scenarios. And so that's important advice, and I'm definitely glad you said it. So
yep, for sure.
Well, great. So now, what does the future look like for Mel Trevino and the Shalom Group? What do you guys have in mind for 2022 and the future outlook?
Well, I guess we are gonna hope that all the travel restrictions around the world just fade at some point in time, and then we can still continue like our efforts into promoting a sustainable ecotourism business regarding and especially into scuba diving. But also, personally speaking, I have an expedition that's going on at the end of this year, that it's a cave exploration. And that's something that is going to be super cool. It's called the Shunanha Expedition. And I'm really, really looking forward to do that. And also to continue our deep sea trimix diving in the Xcalag as, personal target.
Right.
And for the Chilam Group, we are in a process of expansion in some sort of ways, because we also have this travel business that is called Yucatan Dive Trek. And then that we we get people from all over the world since they arrive to Cancun, and then we take them like some sort of dive safaris in the cenotes, in the ocean, with big animal encounters with the crocodiles and the manatees and the tarpons. So we do this mix of everything for 1 to 3 weeks for them, and it's really, really cool. So the way we kind of promote this is when we go to dive shows, but right now, last year they were just canceled.
Yeah,
so
we had to do digital dive shows.
Yeah. So anyway, we are looking forward for this year to go to the ones that are still happening and to continue doing our best into the sustainable operation.
Great. I mean, it's wonderful, and I mean, so exciting. Like, you know, I'm telling everybody, you know, go ahead, check this stuff out, check y'all's place out, and you know, where can I sign up for that? That sounds like a blast.
Yes.
Great. Well,
you guys should visit soon too.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely going to have to visit soon. So it's, you know, despite all the technical difficulties, it was so good having you on the Dive Talk show. And, you know, we definitely probably have to do another one soon. I'll be able to get Javier to join us on one episode. So it's really great for you to join us this week.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you guys for everything. And it was such a great experience to be able to be in this live with Divesoft.
Definitely, yeah. And thanks to everyone that tuned in and joined us on our part 1 and part 2 of this live stream, which that's a first. So thanks to everyone. And thank you, everyone. And we'll see you again next week with, I'll have Alex Dawson joining us. So lots of fun.
Yes. Yay.